I am going to go ahead and introduce our next speaker, Sarah Rosso, who is the executive director of Hugh Lane Wellness Foundation and a powerful advocate for LGBTQ young people in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, beyond nationally. Sarah also is an all children, all families trainer and probably many, many other things because I feel like Sarah is one of the busiest people I know. So I am going to pass it to you, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. And how fortuitous that it worked out that I got to go right after Ashley. So that's lovely as well. So I just want to start out by saying I'm really excited to be able to join you today for Visible and Unstoppable. I have truly been looking forward to this since Elliot first mentioned it. And I just want to give a shout out and say thanks again to everybody who put this day together, especially Elliot and Angela. So as Angela said, I'm the director of Hugh Lane. We're based out of Pennsylvania and Ohio, and I'm also the principal consultant of a consulting firm, Affirming Futures, that works to improve systems to better serve queer and trans youth and their families. Beyond that, I also spend some time serving on both the City of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania LGBTQ commissions, where we work to advise local elected officials that create policies and practices to help make things better for all LGBTQ folks. So it's really easy in moments like this to get stuck in a loop where we begin to lose hope and where fear can really begin to creep in. And so as somebody from Pittsburgh who grew up down the street, literally from Mr. Rogers growing up, and still live in his neighborhood, it's spaces like this that become really critical so that we can find the helpers and know all of the amazing individuals and people who are here today with us, and some not, right, to keep pushing, who keep showing up and who are working every day in their own ways to help ensure that all of our queer and trans siblings can thrive. So that's our goal each and every day at Hugh Lane, to show up and try to do something to help improve the health and well-being of our communities. When I first started to build out Hugh Lane as a non-binary queer person, it was really important to me to create a space where other LGBTQIA community members could come together so that we could create impactful programs and resources, right, to be the adults that we needed when we were kids. And our work never ends. It's not easy, but it is joyful. One of our core values and something that we've found is really helpful in our work is to always find ways to say yes. And we don't take that literally, right? It's not yes to everything and no boundaries. But what that means to us is that we work every day to find solutions. Maybe not the solution, maybe not the perfect answer, but something tangible every day that we can do to try to help improve all of our communities, right? To make sure that we're prioritizing health and well-being. And so much of what we do, of course, we work across the age band, but so much of what we do and what we're really known for is to help uplift and create a safe and joyful space for all LGBTQIA plus youth. So we use so many of the tools that you've learned about today, including Affirm. That's one of the primary tools that we use and have been for such a long time, to help young people develop leadership skills, to drive and define the programming that we use, and to build skills to be able to shine as their incredible, authentic selves. So I'm so proud of our team. And I want to highlight just a couple of things that we've been able to build to create some wraparound supports for LGBTQIA plus youth and their families, chosen or otherwise. Most of our work prioritizes systems-involved youth, especially in child welfare spaces. So we worked with our local Department of Human Services to create a variety of program supports for youth that they were glad to support, right? So young people in Allegheny County and through the Pennsylvania Department of Health are in Western Pennsylvania are able to access Affirm as one example of that. We also offer a program called Big Sibs, which we developed, which pairs staff with lived experience to youth who have similar identities. And that's really something we've done in collaboration with Big Brothers Big Sisters to, help develop programming which allows youth to access referrals, resources, clothing, et cetera, to affirm their gender. We also created what we call Cutie Camp, which is queer and trans camp. So that's a free week-long summer camp that prioritizes youth and child welfare. So this year's theme is community and what makes community great. Spoiler alert, it's you. You are what makes community great. And we also have had the opportunity to do things like make adaptations to interventions like Affirm. And so most recently, we've worked with Breakthrough Accelerator to create a role play game for youth. So think Dungeons and Dragons mixed in with CBT. So beyond our work directly with youth, we also have a team, myself included, of folks who work to support families and other natural supports of LGBTQ youth to answer their questions, to listen, and to help them build skills. We need to help young people be able to develop resilience and joy and leadership skills, but we also need to be there to help families, chosen or otherwise, to be able to be better supports, to create the widest possible safety net we can for young people, to create environments where everyone has a chance to thrive. So we do that on a regular basis. We are also able to work with our local child welfare officials to assure that prospective foster parents, for example, are required to complete competency training before they're able to be certified, to assure that child welfare staff are collecting and documenting SOGI information. And there's a number of people over the years that have worked on those projects, including many of the folks here today. And so those are just some of the things that we've been chipping away at to try to assure that Western Pennsylvania in particular is a safer space for queer and trans youth. The last thing that I think is really interesting to think about as we start to see some of protections roll back and other challenges, it's just some of the creativity and things that we can do. So at the state level, we were able to work with child welfare staff as well as other folks so that they're better equipped to support all 67 counties in Pennsylvania. So that kind of work, that training work, that competency building is really important. And things like that ultimately have a trickle effect. So what we've recently learned is that even though there were cutbacks to 988, Governor Shapiro has already worked with staff in Pennsylvania through a number of advocates and other voices to assure that there's a manual workaround. So whenever that rolls out, there's already a manual workaround that will assure that callers will go right back to the Trevor Project. So there's all kinds of things that we can do. And despite all of the challenges, what I know for sure is that our community has always been and will always be resilient, creative, and joyful. Hopefully we can get back to the focus on creation and joy before too long. But I know that there are so many people fighting for us, and you should know that too, each and every day, and that will make all the difference. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sarah.